In this video, we'll learn how to effectively manage the personal project and community project worksheets within ManageBac. We'll look at navigation step by step and guide you through various functionalities. To access the personal project and community project worksheets, navigate to the relevant tabs within your year group. Clicking on a project tile brings you to the roster page. The roster is the list of all the students within the year group. Students' names appear under their assigned supervisor. From here, you can see the students' progress indicators, an overview of their project proposal, as well as their approval status. To access a student's workspace, just click on their name. Here you can view 4 tabs: the student's workspace, their process journal, assessment, and a tab for meetings with supervisor. With the workspace tab active, you can see an overview of the student's proposal and their assigned supervisor on the right-hand side. This is where you can monitor the student's progress at a glance. By clicking on the drop-down, supervisors can update the progress indicator and set the status of the personal project. Selecting Approved allows the student to start working on the project through completion. Clicking Completed will lock the project so no additional work can be logged on it. Scrolling down the Workspace tab, you will find a space for deadlines and to-dos. This is where the student is able to add in their own personal to-dos. Below that, you'll see the deadlines that have been assigned to the entire year group, as well as any steps or milestones for specific to-dos. Further down on the Workspace tab, there is a space for project documents. This is where students and their supervisors can upload documents from their personal computer or local drive. If the option is enabled, they can also upload from a Google Drive. Notes is the space where the supervisor can have one-to-one dialogue with students about the project and their progress. Notes can be added to this text field. You can include different media by clicking on the blue plus button, and send the message by clicking on the Post Note button at the bottom. You can opt to mark a message as an interview note, which will keep it from appearing in the message thread. This setting can be changed by your school's leadership team if they would prefer to make interview notes visible as well. To add a deadline for students, access the Calendar tab for the year group in the top navigation bar. It can also be done from the roster page Add Deadline button in the top right. To add a deadline, you will need to include some details. Anything indicated with a red asterisk is mandatory. So you will need to give your deadline a name, and you'll want to link the deadline to the personal project. Use notes to give students special instructions about what they need to do by this deadline. Again, including your choice of media. Then set a date and time for your deadline. Under Additional Options, you can opt to enable the ManageBac coursework submission, which will allow the students to submit a piece of coursework related to that deadline. If you see this option, you'll be able to enable the Turnitin Feedback Studio, so all student submissions to this deadline will be run through Turnitin. Clicking on Add Deadline will create a calendar event for the students. It will also trigger an internal ManageBac notification to the students. And if you so choose, you can also opt to notify the students of the deadline via email. Once a deadline is created, you can also add in to-dos for effective student engagement. In order for the deadline to appear on the students' worksheets, you'll need to add in at least one to-do. Find the deadline on the calendar page and click on its name, and then add a to-do using the button. Once the first to-do has been added, it will be visible in the student's workspace. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But while we've got the deadline details open, note the actions in the right sidebar. From here, you can delete a deadline or send reminders to the students. So if we jump back into Rachel's workspace, in her Deadlines sections, we see the deadline that we've created as well as the to-do, which the student is able to tick off once they've completed it. So this is how you can track an individual student's progress with the deadlines. If you'd like to have a more comprehensive view, you can go back to the roster page and switch your view from goals to deadlines. This opens the list of all the deadlines that are linked to this particular project, and you can see each student's submission status. If you wish to drill down further into the to-dos of a specific deadline, click on the drop-down for an itemized list of the to-dos for this project. Let's go back to the student's workspace and look at the other tabs. Under Journals, students can add resources in the form of a journal entry, files, video, website link, or photo. The Assessment tab is not visible to the student, but the supervisor will be able to view each of the criteria and add in their assessment as well as a final comment. And finally, on the last tab, Meetings with Supervisors. You will be able to record your meetings with the students. They will be able to add in their own notes from their account. The system automatically locks these notes 5 minutes after the student has saved them. At the very bottom, you also have a space for supervisor's comment. And on the top right-hand side, you'll be able to export academic honesty form. We've explored various tools and functionalities to facilitate efficient project management, and that concludes our tutorial on managing the personal project and community project worksheets within ManageBac. Thank you for joining us.